Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Phil Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and today we're going to break into some beautiful newsity on this Viral Speak. Viral Speak is an editorial and news show that I should probably do more often because I feel we're going to get a lot more news very soon. And why not? Anyways, today was November 7th, 2023, and for many people, it was a Tuesday. For others, it was a day of voter fraud. Congrats to our mayor on such a handy victory. Now put that hand away. For even others, it is a day where we all slid into another dimension like the doomed crew of the Event Horizon. Instead of being torn apart by horrific demons like a baby in Ohio, we have instead landed in a world where Fortnite brought back an ugly old map and some great weapons to the tune of over 6.1 million concurrent players and a Five Nights at Freddy's movie from Blumhouse that you can literally see for free on Peacock top the movie charts again to bring in up to nearly $219 million worldwide. Honestly, I love to see video game movies perform well. I hope that Scott Cawthon uses the success of the FNAF movie to do the right thing and donate to the proper ousting, shaming, and flogging of Democrats that we need to see in the United States in 2024. Video game movies are a bit of a wonderful idea, and Nintendo agrees. So does Sony, and so does Arid Productions. Nintendo announced today that they totally aren't making a Switch 2, but also that they've been in talks and development of a live-action movie based on The Legend of Zelda. The film has been in development for years before this announcement and has now started a more serious development stage. Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto will be working closely with Avi Arid's production team on the West Ball directed film that will be distributed worldwide by Sony Pictures. A time for the release, the subtitle of the movie, and the actors in it have not been revealed yet. Avi Arid is responsible for almost all of the X-Men and Spider-Man movies, as well as Uncharted, the upcoming Borderlands movie with Cate Blanchett, and previously announced video game movies like Mass Effect, Metal Gear Solid, Lost Planet, and Helldivers. He was also a producer on the live-action Ghost in the Shell, a lot of Marvel movies like The Avengers and Iron Man, and an upcoming live-action Naruto movie. Well, people may be worried about the movie. It appears that Amy Pascal and her team are nowhere near this movie, and that is good. Very good. Amy Pascal is the Kathleen Kennedy of Sony, and it's good that she's out. The director, Wes Ball, worked on all three Maze Runner movies, and the adaptations of those did change material from the books to make it more action-oriented. The third movie would have been mostly talking and standing around if it had been exactly like the book. And well, I digress that I was a bit disappointed that one of my favorite scenes in the second book never made it to cinema, mainly because it would have been a bit brutal and wonderful. It's for the best. That said, though, that director is working on their newest film, which will be the 2024 Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The director also had one of his projects scrapped and canceled after the Fox-Disney merger earlier, like last year or so. That project was Mouse Guard, and there's some very rough test footage of a style concept demo on his YouTube page. Go look it up. Go watch that. I definitely recommend that you watch that, and I would bet that the test footage for Mouse Guard is why this director is now working on The Legend of Zelda. His working with younger actors in the Maze Runner series shows that he knows what he's doing, and I also recommend that people go back and watch those fun zombie apocalypse movies. Just remember they're fun zombie apocalypse movies, and they're based on young adult fiction. And young adult fiction isn't exactly meant for the smartest of audiences. I mean, let's look at it plainly. I mean, young adult is like Twilight, Divergent, The Handmaid's Tale, stuff for like not the brightest of people, especially Handmaid's Tale. It's kind of like one of those things where you're like, oh, The Giver, it's a good book, and you sit down and you read through it and you're like, ooh, why was this given to me? Anyways, I recommend checking out the Maze Runner series of movies, and I do recommend checking out that test footage for the mouse guard. It's absolutely an interesting concept. That said, Link is not a silent protagonist in the manga and comic adaptations for The Legend of Zelda, so I'm not concerned about Link talking in the movie. In fact, in those manga and comic adaptations, he does a lot of interaction with characters inside that world that he's operating in, and he's done that in other non-video game media before. The Legend of Zelda games are about exploring a fantasy world filled with giant monsters, vast dungeons, and defeating a powerful evil through the collection of various magical items and weapons. I expect this movie to deliver that based on the early work that was done with Mouse Guard. As for the actors, I would like to volunteer the idea of Kiernan Shipka for Princess Zelda. And I keep thinking about having Oscar Isaac in the film in some role, maybe as like the King of Hyrule or something. Who knows? One of the writers on this project is Derek Connolly, who previously worked on Detective Pikachu, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, the current Jurassic Park trilogy, and a mumblecore movie called Safety Not Guaranteed. So their experience is fairly uneven, although Star Wars and Jurassic Park had a cavalcade of writers responsible for what went wrong with them. Connolly is the only writer on Safety Not Guaranteed, and that movie is pretty good. So I'm looking at this as being cautiously optimistic and hopeful that it won't be the worst thing ever. Do I expect it to be the best thing ever? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, it is a live-action adaptation, and while fantasy movies are a genre that I like, I kind of have to be in a particular mood for those. I mean, I'll sit down and watch The Dark Crystal, or The Princess Bride, or Legend, or Beastmaster, or, there's so many different ones, too, is it like The Dragon Slayer? I think I mentioned Legend before. Willow. Yeah, there's a bunch. We used to have fantasy movies all the time, and now we rarely get them, so it'll be interesting to see what one of those looks like. Hopefully it'll do better than, say, that Dungeons and Dragons movie. So, I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm going to put myself as being cautiously optimistic because of what I saw with the test footage for Mouse Guard. And that's the New City for today. So let me know in the comments on who you think should be in the movie and what you think of the movie. And until next video comes out, you are now caught up. Morning, Maya.